There we are. Hey everyone. So my name is David Heyde. You won't see much of me tonight. I'm going to flip the camera back around. This is the Missouri, Kansas, Texas, Central Texas Subdivision. And it's an HO scale. I know we have a lot of N scalers here, but there's also some HO scale people in the group. And I've got my phone going in the background, so we'll hear the delay going. I'm going to turn it down right now. So I'm going to flip the phone, or sorry, the iPad. This is an iPad. I'm going to try to go slow, so to kind of give everyone kind of a lay of the land of the layout. I don't have a very large layout. It's in a one-car garage. It's about 13 by 22, 23. And basically, it's double deck, and we can kind of get into some nitty-gritty detail on the layout as we walk around, since it's not such a big layout. So here we go. I'm going to flip this around. If it'll do it. Come on. Maybe. Let's see. Might have to... Okay. There we go. Okay. So, I'm going to start, sorry, it's a little fast. I'm going to start on the north end of the layout. And this is Belmead Yard. So Belmead was just north, still is, just north of Waco. Basically it's part of Waco, but there's a little town called Belmead. And if you don't know where Waco, Texas is, it's kind of equally in between Austin and Dallas-Fort Worth. So it's about 3.5 hours from Houston. It's about an hour and a half from Austin and an hour and a half from Dallas or Fort Worth. I grew up there and decided to model, which a lot of us do. We kind of model what we saw as kids. So this is what doesn't look anything like the real Belmead Yard, but this is Belmead Yard. I have in the back here a diesel service facility. That is an Overland sand tower. I'm going to try to go up high so you can see it. And I have a lot of lights in here. I also have my caboose track in the back there. So I bring power in and out of there for operating sessions. In the foreground here is the yard, 7 tracks. And then I have, actually it's 8 tracks. And then I have a arrival and departure track, 2 tracks there, arrival and departure. And then the main line is on the far left. And everything I have backdrops except for when you go into staging. There's actually a little section still not backdropped. The backdrops were from Model Railroad Backdrops. It's a company out of Tennessee, and mostly are generic backdrops. I have a few that were custom done that we had some photoshopping done. So this kind of gives you an idea. I think this was kind of the shot that was on the preview down the yard there. Looking down the yard, the service facility. So this is Belmead Yard. I'll try to answer questions if I can. I have the phone going. Maybe we can save that for the end. I'll try to keep this real steady. This iPad is kind of hard to hold, so I need to go with 2 hands. Okay. So down here, I'll talk a little bit about how the yard is controlled. Down here is a touch panel, and the touch panel controls the yard. So you see here we've got yard tracks on the bottom, diesel service facility on the top. So if I want to change a track, I just come in here and it changes it from red to green. So now I'm cleared into track 2. If I want to go back to track 1, hit that, you can hear it pop, goes from red to green. And this is a company called Touch Toggle. And what we did is we used a picture frame, and we used a back, had this printed up custom, and then little holes in there with LED lights for the touch toggles for the indication. So I have kind of a right-hand man that helps me with the layout. His name's Bob Shavel. I think he's watching tonight, but he helped a lot with this. He is Mr. Electronics, and so he loves doing this stuff. So we've kind of worked well together. I like doing scenery and weathering and stuff like that. So it's been really nice having Bob help me with the layout. You'll hear more about him, I'm sure, as we talk about the layout. And also another panel on the yard here is we have basically where you can turn the power on and off in the diesel service facility. So you can hear the engines firing up now, maybe in the yard there. These are just boat toggle switches that you can buy on Amazon. And again, we used a picture frame, mounted that on the fascia, and basically it just allows us to get a little bit less noise in the layout. It gets loud in here if everything's on, and also of course saves wear and tear on the engines. So that's just connected back here, and then the engines are then off when they're not being used. So this is Belmead Yard, and then you come around. I'll talk a little bit about the signal system, I guess, right now. The signal system is the Atlas signal system. It's ABS, and it basically functions just as a closed circuit system. We don't really have to do anything with it. We're kind of researching if we can get it connected through JMRI. We're not sure yet, but the signals themselves are from Atlas. I have a friend that's making some authentic KATY signals. These are kind of close. These are kind of the UP style. This is my placeholder for the yard office here. This is just I think it used to be a BLNA kit. So it's just kind of staying there for now. I've got period authentic vehicles, lots of vehicles you'll notice on the layout. I want to talk about two vehicles right now. So first, this fuel truck. So this is an original, basically original off photos KATY fuel truck. And my good friend out of Houston, Scott Sanders, made this for me. It's a wonderful, beautiful model. The cab was, I can't remember if he 3D printed the cab, but I know the body was 3D printed. And it's just beautifully weathered. We had the decals custom done, and it is just a super awesome truck. One of my prized possessions. I can't thank Scott enough. He also made me an authentic F-150 high railer, which is just super cool. And I'll put this out on the layout for pictures. Just a super cool truck that he had made for me. He is such a great guy, great friend, and I can't thank him enough. So coming around the corner here, I'll talk a little bit about kind of what this area is. I call this Transfer Junction. There was an area on the KATY. It wasn't here, but where the KATY kind of intersected with the Santa Fe. This leads downstairs to the Helix. We only use one side of this little diamond here when we operate. You can see the track we've got the maintenance of way out right now. We're actually about to redo this crossing to make it more gradual, and we may actually remove this track on the left on the Y, because we want to make the layout a little bit more point to point when we operate, and also it just doesn't get used really at all in operating. So this is probably going to go bye-bye in the next couple months. We tried to make some repairs. We still didn't like the result, as you can see there. So this is going to get torn out very soon. We're going to custom make a new diamond crossing here. Um, again, mostly scenic. Of course, that one section of track, it's mainly just backdrop, but there are some trees here. There's a train going by. And of course, the diamond is signaled. I can show you here right now. We've got a red coming across there, and it will change back in a second once it's out of the block. So this is kind of a really nice, neat area for photos. There, it's changing back. So there we go. This, and then as we go south, we're headed south now. We're going to come into North Waco. This is an off-spot track here with these box cars sitting. So these cars get moved into the industries in the area after a while. After they sit there, they'll get moved into industries. Everything on the layout is labeled, and I also have on the fascia. And what I did, you can see here's a sign, Central Forwarding. That is the industry above us. And what I did is I did it in the font and in the style of the KATY's depot signs. So they had a certain font that they used, a certain sign style that they used. And so we replicated that, and I had a local company make these metal signs for me that with double-sided tape already installed on them, and we were able to just install those onto the fascia. There's a clip below that. That's for our clipboards. I can show you those later when we operate. We use JMRI switch lists right now, and when we operate. An operating session usually lasts about 2 or 3 hours. This is Central Forwarding. It's just a building up against the background, and then I've got a road that leads off into the distance there. It comes into Central Forwarding parking lot. And then also, this is a scrap yard, part of a scrap yard, Lipset Scrap. So we have gondolas that come in here and take scrap cars, scrap metal, those kind of things, in and out of this area. So this is North Waco. Of course, everything is shrunk down because it is a model railroad. It kind of gives you an idea of what the layout kind of looks like. Of course, it's HO, guys, so can't get quite as much in as in scale, but we try to pack it in here as much as we can. So this is the Brazos River, and I'm sorry it's so close. I'm going to try to move away so you can see it a little bit better. But the Brazos River is the main river that goes through Texas, one of the main rivers, and it goes right through Waco. In real life, this was a three-span bridge. We have it condensed to a 2. In the background there, I had it photoshopped in the Cotton Belt Bridge, which paralleled the KATY downtown Waco for quite a while. And then they stopped using that, I think, in the early 80s and started using KATY trackage to get to a few of their industries. So you can see, it's not very good. You can see back in there also there's a suspension bridge. It's kind of a white bridge. And that was also photoshopped in. So this is actually a photo of Waco, the Brazos River in Waco. And then there is a little walkway down in that area, so I tried to replicate that as best as I could. We have a lot of boaters and partiers out on the river today. So this is kind of still everything is always still in progress. Give me 1 second here. Let me put this down. Okay. So basically, here comes the train over the bridge right now. We'll stop and watch. Everything is kind of a work in progress. I have a rule on the layout that it's kind of a rule of 80. I try to get everything to about 80%, and then I go back and start to refine. And very few scenes have I gotten past 80 yet. I'm still working through them. I think some we're getting close to plus 80. So my trees are a combination of super trees and then some of a Polish company called MBZ. And they're quite expensive, but man, they are beautiful trees. And I'm a big fan of those. So then we come to an industry called Hack Branch. This was a beer distributor. Still is. It's called Benny Keith now. This represents their building. The building is actually flipped around a little bit. This is one area where I'm planning on scratch building a custom building for this whole section. Right now I've got some Walther's kits placed in. This will change in the coming probably year and a half. I have a big plan for this area. And now we're coming into what's called downtown Waco. The fire trucks simulate, there is a City of Waco Fire Department training facility, kind of right where the fascia is, kind of where we're standing. And so these fire trucks are out there doing a training. And all of the vehicle lights are East Coast Circuits. You guys probably know of them. I have many of their products, love their products. And have lots of their vehicles on my layout. I think they just add a lot of... the coolness factor is pretty high with these guys. So these are all period specific fire trucks. Apparatus, I guess is what they call them. Okay, now we come down. This is what I call University Parks Drive, which is a road kind of goes right down the KATY Pass, right before it went over the Brazos River. And this is the Alico building in the background. I had that photoshopped in. That is the tallest building in Waco. It is a life insurance company. It's still there today. Still very much just kind of the symbol of Waco. So I had to have it. I had to have it photoshopped in. We have an oil distributor back here. It's Heart of Texas Oil and Gas. So I've got my Texaco trucks back there, a couple tank cars. We have them go in and out. And then I've got a billboard, period specific. Got to have the jockey underwear billboard, and then on the back side, I think I have a minivan ad from Chrysler from like 1987. I'd show it to you, but it's probably too hard with the iPad. Another East Coast Circuits. These just came out. These are pretty awesome. Wrecker. I can push a button and everything lights up, but I prefer to keep it like this. It's just a little bit more 80s centric. Let's talk a little bit about grade crossings. So my grade crossings, they all light up. Some we have with arms, like this set here. All of my grade crossings are Logic Rail Technologies by my good friend Chuck Stansel in Houston, Texas. He has awesome grade crossing detection. And he also sells the signals as well, everything you need basically for your grade crossings. He is the guy to talk to. Love his products. I have a few of his products on the layout. This is a great product. We got a train coming, so we'll wait a second. You can watch it work. But this would be University Parks Drive down in Waco. Waco has changed a lot since Chip and Joanna took over a few years ago. But this represents the 80s Waco that not a lot of people remember now. All right, here comes our train. So this should light up, and our arms will drop. And there's our train. So you might have noticed that I have a lot of vehicles. I have a good friend who is a bad influence on me. He has a company called Master Built Models. And his name's Bob Johnson, and he's very well known in the 187 vehicle group. He also sells N-Scale as well. And so I rotate through vehicles quite a bit to help freshen the layout. That's one thing you can do with a smaller layout, is rotate your vehicles, rotate your cars. really make it interesting, not just for people when they come back, but for yourself. When you come out and look at the layout, you know, something's different this time. And that really helps keep things fresh. So, basically, as we walk, now we're kind of into Waco proper. Some of this is fictitious. I'll talk a little bit about kind of the fictitious part. So, I'm a big German car guy. I love Porsches. I've had several, and so I had to have an independent Porsche sales and service dealer. So I've got a wide variety of air-cooled Porsches available for service here, and then also for sale here in the front. Somebody's taking delivery of a beautiful Guards Red 911 here. I can't tell if it's the man or the woman that's happier, but the salesman seems quite pleased with himself. We've got a Pepsi machine that lights up. That's kind of cool. And the sign there, it's Tex Ren Motors, sales and service. And this area kind of represents kind of the area where I grew up, which was a little town just south of Waco called Hewitt. And if you see that Chevy station wagon, which is really close to what I grew up driving around in. My mom had a Pontiac 1986 Pontiac Parisienne station wagon. It was that color and everything. So when Rapido came out with those, I bought one for my mom, one for me, and one for my brothers. It was kind of funny. We each had to have one. So we've got a Corvette pulled over here. He was trying to show off in front of the Porsche dealer. So another great vehicle from East Coast Circuits. And then I have a little bit, just to keep things a little bit interesting, we've got some road construction. And we got the guys working on the light post over here. It's not lighting up, so they're gonna, I don't know what they're doing. They're digging something up here. So again, in the back here, we've got another grade crossing that does work, flashes when we have a train coming. So moving on here, we've got our Texaco. We've got a little kind of transfer warehouse station here. Big fan of trucks. You got to have your cab overs if you're in the 80s, right? So I got lots of cab overs. I'm a big fan of cab overs. I think those are just super cool. I know they don't ride well. People don't like them, but I'll talk a little bit about maybe these guys in a little bit here. So we'll talk about that as we move around. But I've got a grain elevator here. This is Cameron Feed. And this was an actual grain elevator in Waco. Again, we're to the 80%. Hasn't been weathered yet, but it will get weathered. All of these industries, we serve them. They're used in operation, so you have to reach a little bit to switch out these cars, but it works. And then as we come over here, we've got a little bit of a City of Waco, public works area. Then in the back, we have Clark Cement and Gravel. And so this is a cement and gravel plant that I have represented here. Back up a little bit so you can get a better gist of how it works here. My roads, some are plaster, some are just masonite painted. I think this one's plaster. I've got another cop hidden behind the tree there. He's looking for speeders. Here comes our train again. This is the Three Stooges. The KATY had two mother slug set called the Three Stooges. Rapido just did these. This is actually a custom made set. But Rapido will get on the layout eventually. As we come down here, this is another off spot here with these grain hoppers sitting on the track. And then I come to this is kind of some negative space. I need to have a little bit of negative space, so I have a farm here. So this is the farmhouse. Those are those cool trees again, those MBZ trees. Really nice trees. And my farmhouse is lit. Can't tell probably in the lights. I've got a train here sitting on the siding, so it's here. This is my cornfield. So I'll show you that. And to give you an idea, the corn rows. And I have that. I don't think you can see it because the train's here, but I'll come down a little bit. You can kind of see. It blends in a little bit. And you know, one of the hardest things to find is people with cowboy hats, but that's really important. And there are a few figures out there, and I've just changed the color of their outfits and put that guy. He's a few places on the layout, but you gotta have cowboy hats if you're modeling Texas in the 80s. So this is more of the farm. We've got hay bales and cows. You gotta have cows in Texas. And the cows are a little weathered. I sprayed them down, get a little bit of that sheen off them. You gotta weather your cows. Barbed wire fence, also a necessity. And then no layout is complete without a Dairy Queen. So got a Dairy Queen here. Really small one, very rural. Pretty typical of what you would see back then. I do have a lot of street lights, of course, from China. To be honest, street lights. Got to have a cattle truck, that's for sure. And again, this was actually the original part of the layout. So this layout grew organically. I started with the top level. At the time, I still had a sports car that I pulled into here, and eventually sold that to add on to the layout. And we put in the peninsula, and then eventually the lower level with the helix. But this was the original part of the layout. I started here. This was the first part of the layout. Working our way down, we've got a train sitting on the siding. This is extra 381.8. And we've got another grain elevator. This is Lacey Feed. A little more rural grain elevator. We've got, I believe we have some rail fans around here somewhere. Let's see. There they are. Taking some pictures. I really try to put figures on the layout just to give you a little bit of a story. And also, you know, people that aren't model railroaders come, they want to see stuff like this, so it makes it a little more interesting for visitors. It might actually bring more people in to the hobby by doing something like that. These grade crossing, we're about to replace these. I'm not too wild about these. They're just a little too flimsy, so we're about to put in another Tomar set. So, details. I've got speed limits, more people, ice machine, any details you can find. These scenes still aren't finished. I've got more weathering to do. We've got a meet here. So, everything is signaled. As you can see, he has a red. So everything does work as it should. And if I'm to flip that switch to let him out once the train is gone, he should get an indication to leave. Let's see. There we go. There it's green. I'm going to flip it back though because he's not leaving. So down here, Lacey Feed. We've got more cows. Just kind of a scene that just blends away into the fascia. But we've got a farmer coming over to check on his cows, as you can see. There he is with his Ford pickup. And then leaving Lacey Feed, we come to our Pine Mountain Lumber Yard. And this is a Weyerhaeuser lumber yard for the most part. Again, my friend Bob Johnson made me some really nice Weyerhaeuser trucks, as you can see there. We've got lots of lumber loads over here. A little cobwebby, so sorry. I missed a spot there. Kind of gives you an idea. And I really tried to use backdrops with buildings on them that I can kind of put into the scene. Because, you know, with a shelf layout, you're really limited on buildings. So, you know, I really wanted to make it feel like you were getting a lot, but within a little space. So this is a great space saver here. This is one of those triple turnouts. So I have the inside track is the main, and then you have the siding, and then you have the industry track that goes off into the lumber yard. This is one of the more complete scenes, I would say, in the layout. Right. And sometimes on layouts, you just have to use your imagination. Where does that road go? Well, it goes out, but trust me, they can get there. We got a blinking, it was just blinking yellow, now the signal went back to green. And show you, see if we can give you guys a little bit of an aerial looking down the layout. That'll kind of give you an idea. So working our way around here, this is a little bit more negative space here along the back wall. I tried to find an expansive scene. I really wanted to give the feeling of depth on the layout. So as you can see, you can look a long ways away. And yes, even though Waco is pretty flat, as is most of Texas, not all of it, certainly not around Austin and San Antonio, but this part, Waco actually has some hills around it. So I really wanted to give some depth to the layout. You can see the backdrop is cut low here. That's for the door to be able to open and close. Yes, that is a door. That is a garage door right there. So I had to cut that down. It was catching and it wasn't working, so we chopped it down. Still get a backdrop though, so if you stay low, looks good. You get up there, you see a little bit more. So here in the foreground, this is a warehouse. Still haven't finished it yet, but we're getting close. This is Texas Distributors. And again, I've got another East Coast Circuits truck. These things are super cool with the marker lights that light up and the fender lights, not just the headlights. I mean, this thing really is decked out. Super cool stuff now that they're doing with LEDs. And then I gotta go slow because I know it takes a little while to focus, but you can see the train wraps around there. We've got on the back side here kind of a truck parking area for the warehouse. And of course you can hear the squealers. And yes, I'm a big Iowa scaled engineering guy. I am good friends with them. I help them. You might have seen me helping them at Springfield this year. They make awesome products. So, you know, East Coast Circuits, Logic Rail, there's Chuck's LCC fast clock. We're starting to use fast clocks on operating. And of course, Iowa Scaled. And I'll talk a little bit more about Iowa Scaled and kind of the Proto Throttle. Next to Texas Distributors is the Centurion warehouse, just another warehouse, a little bit smaller. And I tried to be a little bit more creative with kits, using paint, period paint, kind of lights, getting it a little bit more detailed. I'd like to add some air conditioning, so I need some more roof detail in both of these buildings, so that's on the agenda. Then I'm actually going to be doing a presentation for the Northeast Region NMRA X tomorrow night on immersive model railroading, along with JT from Scale Sound Systems and Nathan from Iowa Scaled Engineering. And one thing I want to talk about is just having sound, having lights. One thing we did for fun, you can see back here, we've got some Alphorn players. And I did this. This is totally for fun. You guys may know this is not really what I do for a living, but I can play the Alp horn a little bit. But I play French horn professionally. So we've got the Alp horn guys. So I've got a switch here in the fascia. And it's down. Where is it? There it is. And so I can have the kids turn this on and off if they want to hear the horns. So that is actually a knock kit, and NOCH from Germany. I ordered that maybe like 4 years ago, and it finally came in, and we had it installed on the layout. So that's kind of a fun thing. So after we come through the warehouse district here, the warehouse area, this is Lehigh Cement, and this is a scratch-built building. I have there's a lot of rock and cement traffic on the KATY, and so this building gets a lot of use here. And we've got truck traffic and train traffic, and another East Coast circuits. There's our nice cab over. Pretty sweet stuff. I just made this sign. I found this logo online and printed it out, made a sign for it, lit it up, and kind of gives you an idea. The building has interior lights, exterior lights. Pretty simple building. Again, not a lot of room, so we want to maximize that as much as possible. I'll stand back a little bit so you can see it a little bit more. Lots of cars right now at the plant. Probably too many, thanks JMRI. But that is one thing with JMRI. They will stack them deep, and this is no exception here. You might see the whistle signs there on the right-of-way. I do have most of those all over the layout. One of my goals soon is to have switch stands installed on the turnouts. So hopefully sometime soon. Some of my grade crossings I don't have signaled at all. I wanted to have just pretty authentic, just crossbucks. Here comes our train right now, so we'll wait it out. So we come down here, we got more signals. And the second time, we're going to come around the corner here. This is kind of a view block. We're coming back around to Belmead Yard. There's our yard limit sign. But the second time you come around Belmead Yard, you're still headed south. Belmead Yard disappears in the imagination, okay? And you pass Belmead Yard as farmland. You pretend it's not there. And then you head downstairs for the rest of the layout. So I'm going to try to walk fairly slowly, but you would come down this way, you would pass all of this again, and then you would head to the helix. So bear with me as I have one duck under on the layout, and it's right when you walk into the room. So we're going to duck under together. Here we go. All right. So this is when you walk into the layout room. This is from the door. This is what you first see. And this would be the track that leads downstairs or from southbound to northbound. And it's just a small area that's scenic. I tried to make it look like Texas ranch land. This backdrop was perfect for Texas, really. And then you would go into the layout, and of course we got the backdrop. Now this little room, I have kind of some of my KATY artifacts in here, stuff like that. We've got stuff like this. So this model railroader was like what got me hooked on modeling the KATY, and so I had Carter, who wrote this article, autographed that for me and put it up. And there's Martin Jenkins. Hey, Martin. And then there I am in the Heritage Unit a long time ago. But we've got lots of cool KATY stuff in here. I've got other stuff I've got to put up. I've got some builder plates and stuff I need to put up. And then I was lucky enough to be in the Cowcatcher recently, so we had that framed and put up in the train room. So, anyways, this is my Helix, made of wood, and we have a Wise camera here. So when we're operating, this is wireless. I just have to charge it, and then it runs to a tablet, and we are going to install the tablet so you can see your train from the other room. You don't have to come out to the Helix and keep an eye on it. You can watch it from the Wise camera inside. So it's worked really well so far. The radius is actually not very big for HO. It's only about 22 inches, which is pretty small. I don't run a lot of big equipment, so it has worked pretty well. And then we just have a little cover here to kind of keep it a little bit more, I don't know, plain. So now when you come out of the Helix, now you're in Southwest Waco, okay? So we're coming out of the Helix. And we work our way around the corner. And this is the newest, kind of the newest part of the layout here is M&M Mars. And M&M Mars was done by my friend, Scott Lister. And Scott is a super talented modeler. He made this out of wood. I'm going to sit down here so you guys can see this. And it is really just an incredible building. We are working right now. I've been getting it kind of put into the scene. Let's see if I can roll this so you can see. And M&M Mars, they make, of course, candy. And it's still there today. They make Skittles, I think Snickers, and maybe one other candy there still. But we just got the track finished up, everything ballasted. I've got the road put in, and now we just got to I've got a chain link fence coming in the mail this week, lots of detail. So this industry gets a lot of business here on the railroad. You might wonder what those rods are. They look like little rods sticking out. Those are for the doors. Those doors open and close. So we're going to run those down through the layout, and we're going to attach it to probably a servo motor, and it's going to open and close the doors when you push a button. So we're super excited about that. That's going to be happening soon. I need to push them down right now because right now they're out on the main line. Kind of sticking out. But those will go down into the layout. They'll go down between the tanks there, the silver tanks. They'll do a kind of a 90-degree bend, not quite, and go down straight into the layout. And we will use a switch that'll be connected to a servo that will open and close those doors when you're operating. So super excited about this building, and it is really. I was just blown away. Scott is one of the nicest human beings ever. Just so nice to make this for me. He really knocked it out of the park. So we come this way. You can see here you're now in Southwest Waco. So this is kind of the bottom half of the layout here. We come down here and we come to Davis Iron Works. This was real near where I grew up now. Basically just a steel and iron distributor. So this industry will take steel beams, coils, steel plates, rebar, anything like that. So again, I've got my trucks, got my loads. This is a crane that was done by Architect, And it was a U.S. Army crane that I just patched out, and it helps get the loads off of the train. I don't know how accurate it is, but it was better than some of the alternatives. You're just always kind of a little bit limited sometimes with what you can buy. You have to scratch build it or kind of you know, do your best. This is some of my scenery, just to give you guys kind of an idea. Really wanted a thick, overgrown area here, so I think that looks pretty nice. So this is the road that leads over to M&M Mars, and we would be looking north here. The KATY was a north-south railroad. It wasn't an east-west railroad like a lot of them. It was totally a north-south railroad. It ran from roughly St. Louis down to Galveston, Texas, really Houston, and then on to Galveston. A lot of grain trains to Galveston, among other things. So we work our way down here, and let me see if I can do this. I'm going to roll on my chair. The layout's pretty low down here, so you can sit and switch, which is nice. I have a 6-year-old son. He likes to come out, and we'll run trains on the bottom level, and it's really fun for him. Kind of doing that, trying to get him hooked early, like all of us have been. So coming through here, we got a little bit more negative space. This is pretty typical Texas, you know, little squatty trees in the middle of a field. Then we come over to our Troy Farm Center, which is a Case IH dealer, and this is a little bit fabricated, but I really wanted a farm dealer. So there was a lot of 1987 model Case IH available, so we went with Case IH over Deere, and seems to have worked out. We got some used Deere here, but it's a Case IH dealer, and this is where the backdrop ends. So you can see I have a door here, and you guys are probably wondering, where's that door go? Well, it goes to my backyard, and never used it, so we decided to just block it, and it's blocked, and it will be blocked for many, many years from now, and that's just how it is. So let's hope it doesn't rot, although it's a steel door, so I think we'll be okay. Just hope the wood doesn't rot around it. It's pretty dry. So this is, you might notice down on the bottom here, I decided to go with a thunderstorm scene. So one of the deals is, it's hard to find these lights here that I bought on Amazon where we can dim them. They're not dimmable yet. So we're working still on finding a light. I'm sure they'll come out eventually, but we'd like to find like a blue light that's dimmable, or something that's dimmable, and then be able to simulate lightning and thunderstorm rolling in. This is set in May of 1987. So lots of thunderstorms in Texas in May, right before it starts to get really hot. So you can see this is a pretty nasty storm coming in. And so right now with the lights on, it's just too bright, but that is a goal coming up. So you can see here's Troy Farm Center. These buildings have been finished. I have to build a ramp to get the tractors on and off, the flat cars. So that's going to go there. And then I have one more building that's being built. You can see the lights have been installed. I got to put the roof on and stuff. So that'll be the final building for Troy Farm Center. Then some of the big plans for the layout. So this is where the staging begins. And this is the staging yard. And as you can see, it's actually pretty big. And it's actually too big. It goes all the way down to there, where the layout dead ends. And the staging yard represents points south of Waco to Smithville, Texas, which was the next crew change point on the KATY. So this area is going to be shrunk, and we're going to add on down at the end with a lift-out section. I'll show you that in a second. But as you can see, no backdrop. So the staging was always just going to be staging. And then we decided, well, this is kind of long and we're not using all of it. We only use, 3 tracks of cars down here. We still have plenty of room. So we're actually going to cut, and I'm going to come up high now. We're going to cut from about right here. And we're going to take all of this out. All of this is going to go until about right here. And then we'll start the staging. And the staging is going to run down here. This is my command center right there. You can see I have my breaker boxes for the house are right here. So we have to have a lift out section. So we're going to build a lift out section. And then I'm going to have one tail track that comes behind this workbench here to get locomotives in and out so they can run around their train once they come into staging. So that's the deal. That is the big thing that's going to be happening. Yes, I use the TCS system. Really like it. Previous to this, I had the ESU system, cab control. This is just a little bit better. No knock on ESU. I have a lot of ESU decoders. I also have Tsunami. Don't ask me how I'm going to get them to run together, but I'm working on it. So the staging yard is going to shrink. So that's kind of the big project. On the staging yard, we have 2 panels. I'll show you the panels here. So we have on and off buttons for the panels. So that's for my switcher there. Just turn them on and off. So we have that. And then we have a rotary dial switch. So if you're leaving from track 4, now we're on track 4. Everything's aligned. If we're going to track 1, everything's aligned. So this, I love that thing. That thing is the greatest thing ever, rotary switch. No layout is complete without your refrigerator for your beer. Since I do live in Texas, we have an external AC unit. Yes, I cut a hole in that door, the said door, and it vents out through that door. I also, when we decided to take this room over, I had 2 ducts brought over from one of my AC units. There was enough capacity to air condition this room. Air conditioning is super important in Texas, even more so than heat. And so it stays pretty cool out here in the summer, which is really great. I want to talk a little bit about the proto throttle. Yes, Iowa scaled proto throttles. I love them. I think it's my most, I would say it's my most favorite part of my layout, honestly. They had so much fun to the layout. I have 6 of them. They don't all get used at once. Usually in an operating session, we use 4 or 5 of them. And then I have 1 extra. I don't need any more for now. I have, most of them are in just the standard gray. I do have 1 I got from Otter Valley in Canada in the brown, which is super cool. They are really awesome. Of course, you can hear their squealers going with the... I've got those at, I think, 3 spots on the layout. The bench work is all pretty simple. It's just I've got metal hangers here underneath. I can show you guys under the layout if you want to see. I know some people really want to see under the layout, so I'll show you that in a minute. Since we're sitting down, the layout itself we've been building it for, let's see, I think this is 7 years now, 6.5 years. All of this has been done. I'll show you guys a little bit underneath the layout now. These are my workbenches. So this is my kind of building / tinkering workbench. I've got a dead SD40-2 sitting there, but I'll build my buildings here, work on my cars, work on my locomotives, decoder installs, that kind of stuff is here. We just built it under the layout. I just fit underneath, and works out pretty well. Put a pegboard there. Good use of space. Couldn't really put more layout under here, so this was a great use of space. Then you roll down here, and I've got my GMRI / programming track. I'll show you up here. I use a Sprague 3. You can see it maybe down there on the end. But I've got a Loc Sound programmer here that I pull out a laptop for that since they don't use Apple. And then I have my JMRI track, which is the longer track. The Loc programmer is the short track. So I have both of those there. This is my dispatch area where we print out the switch lists, and also we run the fast clock from here. We have 3 fast clocks. This is the master here, and then we have 2 slave units that run that are inside the fascia. And no layout is complete without your personalized MKT coaster and your MKT mouse pad. So, and then the third workbench is a small workbench area. This is where I keep my paint booth and also another work area. Right now it's kind of a catch-all for microphones and stuff that I'm not using. And there is my Loc Sound Dell laptop that I use for that. So, and there's also a light under here. Also, really important, guys, fire extinguisher. You have this much electronics going, make sure you have your fire extinguisher. Here, I'll turn the light down here. So, lots of light. And this is the garage door. Right there is the garage door. So when I want to use my airbrush, I can vent it. I can just prop the garage door a little bit, vent that out, I'm good to go. The garage door does still work. So here, let me show you. I'll show you a little bit of the electronics above us. Lots of electronics. So I'll just turn the. You can kind of see. I'm not seeing really what you guys are seeing, but most of the electronics we use are. We use the block watchers and the power supplies, stuff like that. Most of that stuff, it's that outfit through Tony's Trains. I can't remember what they're called right now. DCC, I don't know if it's DCC Concepts or... anyways, they've been great. Solid state. Work really well. There's a lot of wire on this layout. The signal system takes a lot of wire. And everything is blocked. And so you have to have lots of wires running to each block. If any of you have sent me stickers, I put all my stickers underneath the layout. So there's lots of stickers there. And they're from all over. So, anyways, that is kind of the layout. We've been talking for an hour now. I'm trying to think if I've left anything out. Oh, I'll show you the drawers. People probably want to know about the drawers. So, we made a lot of these drawers. I needed storage. With a small area, we wanted to be able to store all of my rolling stock and locomotives in drawers. So we ended up making 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 7. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. And when I mean we, again, I got to give props to my buddy Bob. He came up with a plan. We went out and we bought a whole bunch of plywood. And I got these handles on Amazon. And we went to work. And it took us months to build these. But we built them. And I got some of the ideas from my friend Mike Armstrong, who lives here in town. Has a beautiful Rock Island layout. And I saw something like this. And I was like, boy, we got to have these. So basically, this is the locomotive box here. But let's give you an idea here of everything stored nice and neat. And so if I'm looking for a certain locomotive, I can pull this open, and my locomotives are nice, neatly numbered in there. And if I need something, I can just pull it open and I'm good to go. So this is a big project for me, is to start weathering all of these locomotives. That's the problem with buying so many locomotives. So you roll around here. This is a bench if we have shorter people here. The layout's pretty tall. I'm 5'11", and it comes up to just below my shoulders. So if you're a little shorter, you know, you may need the bench, or if we have little kids that come see it. So, but we've got a lot of these all through the layout. So, and they go all the way down there. So all of my cars are stored nice and neat underneath the layout, and it's been pretty awesome to have those. So the layout itself, plans for the layout coming up, like I said, we're gonna shorten this staging yard, and then we're gonna redo the diamond. Those are the two really big projects that are coming up, and then after that, who knows? You know, there's always a point where you decide you want to tear something out, and then you redo it, and you go from there. The layout itself, we'll see what happens. I mean, one day I'd like to build something bigger, but right now, my life and what I have going on with 3 kids and 3 jobs, this is about all I can do. So, and all the grade crossings do have speakers. You know, we got a lot of speakers, a lot of fun things. Oh, one thing I didn't talk to you guys about, another thing that Logic Rail has, they have the thing called the fusee. So if you're out switching track and you're out on the main, we want you to throw fusees down, which are these little fuses, right? They light up, kind of look like little firecrackers. So I have switches on the layout panel. So you're told on the instructions if you're operating on the main, switching on the main, you need to light fusees. So we have these red switches here. And it just sets off, see, there it is. These little fusees, we have them planted, they flicker. So if a road crew is coming by and they see those, they know that somebody's on the main, they need to stop. So I have those off, so I just turned it off, and about 30 seconds from now it'll flicker off. So we do have those. That's another immersive thing that we have on the layout to try to, just another fun thing to do while you're switching. I'm big into operations. I love operations. And anything to make operations more fun, it's about to flicker out. Let's see, there it goes, it's out. So we have those at 3 spots on the layout. And we use those when we're operating. The ABS system does have blinking yellow. You might be able to see that right there above 318. So the aspects on the ABS are green, red, yellow, and blinking yellow, or flashing yellow. And so those all do work, and it works in that. It actually goes green, red, flashing yellow. Green, flashing yellow, yellow, and then red. So, all right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. Other than that, the layout itself, like I said, not huge. Talk a little bit about kind of what we did in the room to make it more comfortable. So as you guys probably know, this is in a garage. So I live in Texas. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's no basements here. I have strong roots actually in Pittsburgh. So I'm actually wearing my Paul Steen shirt tonight, but you guys can't see that. But big Pittsburgh Pirates fan my whole life. But I've lived in Texas most of my life now. Lots of family in Pittsburgh. But anyways, to make this room more comfortable living in Texas, we insulated the door. As you can see over there, the garage door has insulation. Those panels, I got those at Lowe's. And then I brought in, like I said, We had to bring in a return air vent. You can see that there. And then we have 2 vents up there. There's 2 of those in the layout. And then I have track lighting. I put that in so to light the layout. And then I have can lights. And then some speakers if I want to play some jams. I got some speakers in here too. I got a stereo wired up. But as you can see, there's the garage door. But we had the room painted. I went with the fascia color to match the walls, to blend everything in. And all of our switches are recessed into the fascia. And basically the switches are just below where the switch is. So there's the switch. And so everything's tortoise. We started with servos, but they were not quite strong enough to get through. I've got 4 inches of foam here, and then on the bottom level, just 2 inches of foam. So everything's built on foam. The track profile has been carved out of foam. Nothing on here is cork. Everything is carved out of foam. Everything is set on foam. Below the foam, I have 3/4 inch ply. So it's quite thick, it's quite sturdy, and the construction, really, I wanted to make it pretty robust. It's really not loud to run trains straight on foam. Some people say it is. I disagree. It's no louder than on plywood with cork. Highly recommend foam. It is model railroading gold as far as I'm concerned, to carve and to form things. So I basically just carved this down to the bottom level, and that gave the relief I needed for the bridge. So that's why I did 4 inches on top. You know, and like I said, Texas is pretty flat, so we didn't have to do a lot. This is not the Appalachians or the Rockies. So anyways, I want to thank you guys very much. I'll try to answer some questions in the comments after this has been posted. Always happy for anyone to come and visit. If you'd like to come visit, you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, please send me a message. Love to show you the layout in person. And you're always welcome here. We have a very vibrant, active modeling community here in Dallas, Fort Worth. Lots of great layouts to see. And it's just a wonderful hobby. So I hope you all enjoyed this tonight. I want to thank Patrick and Brad for having me, good friends, and just had a great time tonight. If you all have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. Always happy to share. Sharing is what makes this hobby fun. I love sharing my layout with other people. I love when people come and look at it and enjoy it. I like going to other people's layouts, so I know how much fun that is. So you are always welcome. Anytime you want to come and check it out, please do. So thank you very much, and y'all have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.